Stone monoliths. We don't know exactly when humans began creating images, but the earliest evidence of image-making dates to more than 30,000 years ago. They painted animals on cave walls and carved human and animal figures out of stone. All of these works of art were created in the Paleolithic period, also called the Old Stone Age, which lasted from approximately 30,000 BCE until 10,000 BCE. Painting of cave walls may have been the most common artistic use of stone in ancient times. However, this was not the only use. Ancient man, despite his lack of technology and metal tools, also carved into rock and moved stone to create amazing structures. Stone carving often consisted of abstract swirls and symbols. These could be etched into large surfaces, such as caves and hillsides, or onto individual stones. Once again, human figures seem to be the focus of these carvings. Another common use of stone carvings is the megalith. Megaliths are large monuments created from huge stone slabs. Easter Island is the location of one of the largest groupings of megalithic statues in the world. These statues, also known as moai, have remained a mystery into our time. Easter Island, the mysterious remains of an ancient cultural group, have intrigued archaeologists for many years. Easter Island is located approximately 2,300 miles off of the west coast of Chile and 2,500 miles to the east of Tahiti. This extremely isolated island holds dramatic artifacts that testify to the engineering skills of a centuries-old culture. Located throughout the island are nearly 900 megalithic stone statues. Each block-like stone has a unique set of facial features carved into it. Distinctive noses, a protruding brow, and recessed eye cavities are shared characteristics. However, each sculpture captures its own personality for the viewer to see. Although petroglyphs and other stone structures remain on the island from the ancient civilization, the megalithic stone statues have proven most captivating to the world. A great deal of mystery and confusion has surrounded these megaliths. The purpose and the means available to both carve and transport the statues have baffled archaeologists and historians since the statues were first discovered. The attempt to solve these mysteries has been a driving force for numerous researchers. To better comprehend the people who created these statues, an understanding of the early settlements of the area should be gained. The first inhabitants of Easter Island arrived around 300 to 400 AD. Originally called Rapa Nui in the native language of these first Polynesian settlers, the island became home to a subgroup of Polynesians led by King Hodo Matua. He and his people traveled thousands of miles to reach this remote island that would become their home. These original settlers of the island were the first creators of the giant stone statues. The original settlers referred to these sculptures as moai. They were carved from the porous volcanic stone called tuff that was readily available on the island. The sculptures averaged 13 feet in height and weighed 13 tons. Archaeologists have determined that the native people placed these sculptures on ceremonial platforms. However, this does not explain why there were so many of the sculptures and how the natives were able to move them around the island. Approximately 300 to 400 years after the original settlers arrived, a new phase of the culture began to emerge in the archaeological record. Some of the original moai were destroyed and new ones were created, most of which still exist today. Another change in this era was that the platforms, or ahus, that the moai were erected on started serving as burial chambers. Many believe that, in this phase, the moai were serving as deified images or godlike representations of important individuals within the culture. If one considers the size of the moai to represent the importance of the individual, then the 32-foot-tall moai, weighing approximately 82 tons, might represent one of the most influential members of the society. This sculpture, the largest one found on the island, is made of one single stone. The great civilization that existed on Easter Island dissolved around 1680 after civil war broke out. There were two main ethnic groups, the short ears and the long ears, that occupied the island, when war broke out between the groups. Brutal executions became the norm, and the culture was obliterated. The causes of the Civil War are unclear. Some claim a lack of natural resources was the source of fighting, while others claim the main reason was a quest for power. Whatever is the true cause, the result was that a culture that achieved great technological and artistic advancements was lost to the pages of history. When British explorer and navigator Sir James Cook arrived at the island in 1770, fewer than 700 people remained, and fewer than 30 of them were women. This was a reduction from the nearly 3,000 people that had been there just 48 years earlier, when an expedition led by the Dutch had come to the island. It was then that the Dutch commander, Jacob Roggeveen, named the island Easter Island, commemorating the holiday on which they discovered the settlement. When French explorers visited the island in 1786, the population had rebounded to 2,000 people. However, epidemics such as smallpox and slave raids from Peru had destroyed the population by 1877, with only 111 people remaining. Along with carvings and megaliths, ancient man used large stones for building structures. One of the most famous of these structures is Stonehenge. It is just one of dozens of megalithic sites spread across England, Ireland, and Northern Europe, although megalithic sites can be found around the world. Stonehenge. Stonehenge could possibly be the most famous megalithic stone structure in existence. Most people would be able to generate a picture of it in their mind's eye just from hearing the name. Stonehenge represents mystery and curiosity for scholars, researchers, and surveyors of ancient history. With each passing year, archaeologists understand more and more about this ancient site. Although a great deal of the common beliefs about Stonehenge are no more than working hypotheses, the artistry and technological advancement of the people who created Stonehenge are undeniable. Created in 3 phases, Stonehenge transformed over the centuries into what we see today. The first phase, occurring between 2950 and 2900 BC, consisted of a circular ditch and raised earthen mound that measured approximately 330 feet in diameter. Within that circle was a series of 56 Aubrey holes, named after the person who discovered them. These holes no longer house the wooden posts that once filled them due to erosion and time. The second phase of development for Stonehenge occurred over approximately 500 years. The years 2900 to 2400 BC saw a small degree of transformation for the site. In the center of the circle, a timber monument was created. The original Aubrey holes were filled in, partially, with cremated remains. It was through this discovery that archaeologists came to realize that Stonehenge was used, at least in part, as a ceremonial burial site. The third and longest phase of Stonehenge's development occurred from 2550 to 1600 BC. During this time, the greatest advancements took place. It was during this phase that the large stones that define the structure were brought in. Replacing the previous wooden posts, the creators of this henge used a post and lintel system to create the circular structure seen today. Erected inside of the original earthen bank and circle of wooden posts, upright stones, referred to as the sarsen stones, were added. Lying across these sarsen stones are the lintel stones. These connect the upright stones to make a ring. The stability of the structure was ensured by the mortise and tenon joints used with the architecture. At the top of the sarsen stone is a knob, or protruding knot. This knot locked into a complementary, recessed area in the lintel stone. This male and female joint system locked the stones in place so that they were structurally secure. This circle of sarsen stones measures about 108 feet in diameter and consists of 30 stones. These stones average 13 feet high, 6.5 feet wide, and 3 feet thick. Inside of the sarsen circle is a horseshoe-shaped construction that has an opening facing northeast. The main entrance of the monument. During the third phase of construction, around 2550 to 1660 BC, a circle was added with bluestones. The bluestones are smaller stones inside of the larger outer circle. Many believe that these stones were brought from Wales. The bluestone circle was added around the horseshoe center and was later converted to a bluestone horseshoe. The purpose of Stonehenge has been debated since its original discovery in the modern era. The most current belief is that Stonehenge was part of a larger complex that represented death and burial. This belief stems from the existence of remains at Stonehenge and the connection to the nearby site of Durrington Walls. Evidence from this site, including debris, waste, and home-like structures, indicates that people lived there. Durrington Walls connects directly to Stonehenge via the River Avon. Considering the presence of cremated remains at Stonehenge, many believe it was a ceremonial site to honor the dead. The River Avon represented the journey of the loved one from the world of the living to the world of the dead. In addition, the arrangement of Stonehenge gives rise to a popular belief about the connection to the solar and lunar calendar. The sunrise of the midsummer solstice is aligned and framed exactly by the end of the horseshoe in the interior of the monument. Opposite to this point, the bend of the horseshoe aligns with the midwinter sunset. These are the longest and shortest days of the year and mark the turning point of the seasons in the calendar. Even though theories about the purpose and function of Stonehenge will be debated for decades to come, the fact remains that the skill needed to construct it was immense. Stones had to be brought from miles away. Tremendous manpower was needed to carve and erect the stones, and mathematical aptitude was required to accurately design the complex as a whole. Although this site was created by an ancient society, the advancements of the people are obvious.